La Rosa Realty is a holding company for 5 agent-centric, technology-integrated, cloud-based, multi-service real estate segments. And with me is Joe La Rosa, the CEO of La Rosa Holdings, and also Peter Goldstein, CEO and founder of Exchange Listing and also MS Capital. And let's start with you, Peter. I mean, I know you wrote a book and you've been working with companies to take them public. Start with your book and then let's talk a little bit about what you do for businesses.
Thanks, Jane. Yeah, I have a 35-year background as an entrepreneur, majority of that in the capital markets as an investment banker, advisor, investor, and founder. And I wrote a book called The Entrepreneur's IPO to really educate entrepreneurs about what's possible for small cap and micro cap companies. You know, there's a myth around Wall Street where everybody thinks you need to be a unicorn in order to do an IPO. Well, it's just not true. So the book is a practical guide. It also includes top industry experts with their tips and opportunities to educate entrepreneurs about listing their companies and accessing the capital markets.
Now, that's really valuable information because you're absolutely right. A lot of people are like, oh, there's no way you can go public. So what's a couple pieces of advice you would give to small companies?
Prepare early. It's a journey. You know, we like to look 12, 18, 24 months out from your listing and then bring in a team of advisors and professionals that can teach you the necessary aspects of corporate governance, of financial reporting, making sure your organization and your operations are geared towards public ownership. Most founders are typically oriented around private ownership and aren't used to the transparency and the governance required. And then of course there's all the necessary listing metrics. And all of these things take time, and I like to say to practice. And then to be able to be prepared for when the markets open. Like in this current market, you know, the IPO markets are doing better now than they have in 15 years, although everybody thinks the market is closed. First quarter had an increase of 231% over last year at this time. So we want entrepreneurs to understand you want to be ready and prepared for when you go to market, and of course in this case, when the markets open more fully.
Yeah, and you helped Joe of Joe La Rosa go public. So can you explain what happened, and then we'll talk to Joe a little bit about that as well?
So we work and we love to work with dynamic entrepreneurs who have a commitment and a vision to going public. So we were introduced to Joe and really love the business model that he has, and worked to bring in all of the ecosystem necessary for Joe to prepare for his IPO, educating him, educating his staff, working with the board, and developing the relationships with the investment bankers, the attorneys, the exchange directly. We work directly with the NASDAQ and spend all the time necessary to prepare him for his successful listing.
And Joe, explain that experience. How was that? Did you feel like, were you overwhelmed? Did you need this kind of a guidance going through it?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, the old saying, right? You're only as good as who you surround yourself with. So, you know, for years, just like what Peter said, I never thought it was even a possibility for us to be able to have the opportunity to even go public. And then when I got to understand the microcap market and the possibilities, you know, meeting Peter and his team, they were able to really introduce me to really important folks that helped me get across the finish line. And it was a, you know, very unique process for sure, because, you know, we first started talking when the market was doing phenomenal back in 21, and then of course everything started to change, in both in the public markets and the real estate market. But, you know, we wouldn't have been able to cross the finish line if it wasn't for, you know, Peter and his team and all the other folks that they've been able to introduce me to.
Yeah. And now your business is disruptive of the real estate industry. Explain what La Rosa is doing that's different.
So, you know, now more than ever, there's definitely, you know, a lot of news out there about obviously the change that we're going to be seeing in the real estate industry. And so our model is very unique and different, is because we've always been very focused on defining what it is to be agent-centric, right? Creating opportunity for agents that have as much financial flexibility, right? So that they can be able to create more financial wealth for themselves and also have the opportunity to be flexible with their consumers. And so our model is very different, where we offer agents 100% commission. They pay a monthly subscription, and they'll pay a flat transaction fee. So there's a lot of flexibility there for agents. And in today's market, only about 10% of the agents that are active in the United States today actually have their license hung with a company like ours. So what the projection is now over the next, you know, 3 to 4 years, that number is going to increase dramatically, possibly over 50%. So we feel like we're in the right place at the right time with the model that we're introducing. And of course, we're really focused on, you know, leading the way and really being able to introduce even more and really, again, define what it is to be agent-centric, creating as much value as we can for agents.
And the revenue model is different as well. Can you explain that?
Sure. So, there is, there's definitely a need for agents to be able to create multiple streams of revenue, right? I was always taught that from years ago by my father. And so we want to create that same opportunity for realtors. So a lot of realtors want to be able to build their own business within a business, have an opportunity to create a team. And so, we've looked at other real estate companies out there that have created a revenue share model, but it's very complex. And when you look at, and you kind of dig down deep into the dynamics of what they offer, very few agents actually make enough money to be considered to be in the black, right? After they're paying all their fees and whatever else, they're still losing money. So we wanted to create a very simple system that was very easy to understand, and that's also a big component of why ours is so different. And where agents can make money literally day one. There's no waiting to unlock your level 1 to go to level 2, level 3. There's no waiting for how many deals to have to close. Literally, an agent at Rosa can hire one agent, and on that agent that they hire, then their very first closing, they're able to actually generate some revenue sharing now from that agent's transaction. So that's what makes our model very different, and we feel in today's market, because of everything that's happening, it's essential for us to create that opportunity for agents.
And AI could play a role in this
Sure.
as well. How will AI work with the real estate industry?
So I've been, following AI now for the last several years, right? It's been around, but over the last, I would say, 18 months, it's picked up a lot of momentum, and it's become kind of a sexy name out there. And so we don't want agents to get intimidated and feel like they're going to be replaced by AI, right? So we wanted to create our own system internally at La Rosa called Jamie that was going to allow for agents to work directly with AI. I feel that it's the agents that don't adapt to today's technology, those are the ones that are going to be left behind, right? So we wanted to create opportunities for agents to work smarter, not harder. We built a phenomenal system that allows the agents to be able to do that, and as well as we've now started to focus on the consumer side. So we don't want to just be a company that is really focused on being agent-centric, but as well as being consumer-centric.
Yeah, and what are your growth plans for the company?
So, we are just in a place right now where, being a publicly traded company, having the opportunity now to expand across the United States. Our model, again, is very different. So a lot of the traditional brokerages, I have been reaching out, hearing about La Rosa and seeing kind of the momentum that we've been able to create. And we're having opportunities now on the M&A side now across the United States. And plus, we've been very active. I would say we've been almost averaging at least 2 acquisitions per month now since we've actually gone public back in October. So we're very excited for the opportunity now ahead and really kind of become one of the leaders in the real estate space.
Yeah, and Peter, let's finish. Tell me your book again, and then also any other last pieces of advice for companies that may watch this interview and go, hey, maybe I can go public.
So the book is called The Entrepreneur's IPO, and it really is geared towards entrepreneurs like Joe who want to understand what's possible in the world of listing their companies. Small cap and micro cap is our area of focus. And the reality that you can access capital as an alternative to private equity and venture capital. Currently there's trillions of dollars on the sidelines. We're still getting companies done, and as I mentioned earlier, the IPO market, surprisingly, is much stronger than people realize. So reading the book, it's available on Amazon. You can get some beginning of the education. Of course, anybody can reach out directly to me, and I'm happy to provide information. And specifically, I think the takeaway is, if you're committed to the journey, start early. Prepare yourself early for when the opportunity comes that you really do have the ability to attract significant investors, significant capital that's transformative in nature.
Yeah, no, good advice. I think I might read that book. So thank you so much, both of you.
Thank you.
Thanks.